Hello, my name is Hilik Moradi. I'm an immigrant. I speak three other languages except English. My English is broken, basically. I'm an illiterate. Never finished a book, never wrote a book. But fortunately, I know about the politics of the world, what's going on. I didn't speak since March when the pandemic came over. I predicted the pandemic as a biological weapon against the United States and the Western society to diminish. Then later on, I could not speak because I was in a shock, basically, how our leader all of a sudden took our freedom away, and we were forced basically on the laws that existed in 1930s by Germans and 1947 by China. When China came over, the revolution of Mao, 1947, 74 years ago, exactly when I was born, the Chinese have a red book. Mao Zedong, their leader, very charismatic, just dragged the nation with him with promises that life is going to be better. Of course, we know the history of the past 74 years, that over 70 million of the Chinese were killed by the China government. This is one sample. The same thing happened in 1930 with Hitler in Germany. There were a lot of factors for the rise of Hitler in Germany that we're not going to go through it, but basically, when a socialistic system takes over your life, the first thing that they do, they ban your book, they ban your freedom of speech, they take your gun away, and then you have to bow and commit it to do whatever they tell you to do. The last 7 months or 6 months, United States of America changed rapidly. And now there are laws basically that they are similar to the Chinese law, the way that the government acting toward the population. Didn't happen just by mistake. This is a pre-planned between globalists that make a lot of money in China, Democratic Party, the left side of this country, the academia that created division and hate and thought that United States is the worst place to live in, since basically, or much before, Barack Hussein Obama was elected as a president of the United States. Few days before his inaugural of Barack Hussein Obama, he promised on a stage for millions or hundreds of thousands that gathered to hear his speech that within few days we're going to transform United States. The transformation of United States began. What Hussein Obama did was pre-planned. Nobody ever vetted Hussein Obama to see who is he, what he believes, where he was born, who was his connection, who paid for his election to become president, because presidency in the United States is bought. It's not your vote or my vote that elect. That's all nonsense. And whose puppet really Barack Hussein Obama was? He basically started his presidency, the first trip that considered to be the most famous trip of every president to any foreign country, was Egypt. Why Egypt? Because Egypt was center of Middle East, basically. Of course, not politically, not economically, and Egypt wasn't the biggest ally of the United States many, many years. Israel was. And on his trip, basically, he escaped Israel. Why? There is a reason for that. Barack Hussein Obama, later on, we found out that he was educated in Indonesia, in madrasa. Madrasa is, in Arabic, is a class, is a religion class. The same thing exists in Judaism, we call it yeshiva, that your teachers are basically our theocracy, people that believe that the religion must make or become your government. When the purchase of a religion actually became political, we can go back 2,000 years ago. I don't want to insult any Christian or Muslim here, because we're all people and we all believe to what we have said to be believed. But Roman, for example, bought Catholicism or Christianity almost 300 years after Jesus, or 400 years. They basically bought the religions as an official religion of Rome. And that's how Vatican became live. Now, Barack Hussein Obama, going back to Barack Hussein Obama, he attended not churches, he attended mosques. Meaning he was taught in madrasa in Philippines, wherever, a religious that came out 500 years after Christ, and that's Islam. That's why he chose Egypt and gave his famous speech in University of Al-Azhar, that is equal to Yale or Harvard in the United States, famous university. On his speech, that it was very political speech, politicized basically, the leader of Egypt then, Mubarak, he felt that he came to destroy Egypt. And fact is that a few months later, the famous, how do you call it? What they called it? Not the Arab Revolution, something like Summer Revolution or whatever, I don't remember the name, started with tremendous demonstration of the opposition in Egypt of the Muslim Brotherhood. Muslim Brotherhood were and are the father of ideology of Obama's father that was a Muslim. In Muslim Brotherhood, basically they talking about destruction of Western society, exactly the way that the Chinese or the Russian are talking about. Even worse, because the Muslim Brotherhood manifesto basically talking about the destruction of the United States, how to destroy United States. So we know the rest of the Obama, the first 2 years, he pushed his Obamacare. We knew that it took him 2 years to do that. We knew that a lot of senators and so-called representatives were paid to vote for Obamacare. And he took over 1/6 of the economy of the United States in his hand with the false ideology and lies. 2 years later, 2010, all of a sudden, the Tea Party woke up and they saw what a mistake it was to elect such a radical to become a president of the United States. So the election of 2010, the midterm election, was a total disaster for Barack Hussein Obama. They lost many seats in many other places, in Senate and in the Congress. But the Democratic establishment remained very solid in places like Chicago, his hometown, California, Oregon, Nevada, Washington, and of course Washington City, the heart of the United States. I guess nobody checks when a local politician become a leader, what the background is, the way that the background of Barack Hussein Obama never was checked. There are tapes that he assisted with Jeremiah Wright, and real estate developer in Chicago that was very famous, a crook man. And of course, nobody knew his connection to another hateful group that called Nation of Islam and his leader, Louis Farrakhan, a known anti-Semite. So Barack Hussein Obama basically was an anti-Semite, and he is, because of his background. He hated Jews more than anything else. And within 8 years of his presidency, Barack Hussein Obama tried to destroy Israel. And he couldn't. Many other more powerful people tried to do that. And Israel exists since 3,300 years ago. Israel exists because it believes to a truth, and that's Judaism. As I said, I don't want to insult any Christian or Muslim, but they've been lied since 2,000 years ago. Same, the Muslims and the Christian, because of the so-called New Testament. God did not change his First Testament. He didn't need a New Testament. But that's a creation. What on New Testament basically came, denied the first existing and powerful Bible called the Old Testament, the 5 books of Jesus, that was given by God to Moses face to face. It's written in the Bible. So why God all of a sudden changed his testament? Because the Jews were wrong, or they did sins, or what? No, that was a made-up story. The whole Jesus story is a made-up story that been told to millions of people. So what the Catholicism did basically, like Barack Hussein Obama that hid his background, his belief, his ideology to American people just to be elected and become to power. Same thing the Roman did to Jews. They destroyed their temple. They destroyed their book. And the first thing that they did, they divided nation of Israel to be hated. Hated and anti-Semitism started by Jesus, nobody else. Like Barack Hussein Obama hate started in Philippines, in madrasa, and ended with Jeremiah Wright that openly called for destruction of America. Damn to America. Goddamn America. Not good, America. Okay? Nobody saw that movies. No CNN, no Twitter, no MSNBC, no ABC or NBC or CBS. This is part of destruction. Starts by education. Our people, or American people, that demonstrate today and burn and loot and put everything to fire and destroy what has been built in the last 230 or 40 years of American existence, is all pre-planned and part of converting United States to become China. Very, very simple. It started with Obama during his administration with the cop that arrested his body professor, if you remember, and they kind of sat together, supposedly drank beer. No, it wasn't for beer, really, to solve the problem. The attack on the police started then, from that day. Police was attacked, basically, by President of the United States. And then all the scams that happened during the Obama that we did not know about, like Ebola, like flu, basically, that 6 months after he killed 150, 200, 400,000 people, American people were not aware of it because the media did not participate in propaganda like they're doing today with the virus. Why all this propaganda against a pill that could cure, basically, the virus that is proven in many countries? 60 years has been used. It is cheap, first, so nobody makes money on it. Secondly, the pre-plan of the leftists and globalists started with the rise of Donald Trump against China because he did not belong to establishment. So therefore, when he was elected, he was condemned, not only by left, many Republicans that connected to the system, they rejected election of Donald Trump, that basically is a good businessman, and he believed in the democracy and freedom of every American. One of the sayings of Jeremiah Wright in his church speeches was, "The chicken come back to the roost." So now the chicken really came back to the roost. How? I explain it. It's very simple to understand. What's happening today in the United States of America is a carbon copy of Mao Revolution, is a carbon copy of Marx Revolution, Lenin Revolution, Hitler Revolution, and connected to Mussolini and Franco Revolution. Who were those people? Those people did not love the people, did not love their country. They hated their own country. That's exactly what's happening in the United States. So the first thing that the left do is divide to conquer. So the division started with Barack Hussein Obama. Ferguson happened. Ferguson was a mistake, police mistake, or incident with the police. What happened in Ferguson, movement started with hand up, don't shoot, don't kill. Because the guy that was killed by the police, he never said that. He was a criminal that attacked the police, and it was proven by the justice, and the police went free. I don't remember his name because I don't want to remember his name. But then the movement started of Black Lives Matter. What is Black Lives Matter? Who founded it? The founder is a criminal that sat in jail for sex violation against children. BLM is a Marxist organization that hate white, hate Jews, hate black conservatives like Candace Owen, and other blacks. That's why the killing goes on in in Chicago every week. You got 80, 90, 100 shots, incident of shooting people and killing. Every week you got 10, 15, 12 people die, and mostly black. And there is no Black Lives Matter on that case. So they created what the left created basically since 2016 when they lost the election, was not recognizing Trump as a president, legitimate president of the United States. And who was behind that not recognition? Barack Hussein Obama. The same guy that divided the United States and created BLM. For 3.5 years, or 2 years, it was a coup against Trump as legitimate elected of presidents of the United States. The coup was handled by whom? But Brennan, that was head of the CIA. By the way, who knows anything about Brennan? Brennan was a pure communist that when he was ambassador of the United States in Saudi, became converted to become a Muslim jihadist. Nobody in America knows that John Brennan is a Muslim jihadist. Muslim that believe in Muslim Brotherhood of Egypt. Those that rise in Egypt spring that became very much winter spring or winter matter, whatever you call it, for Egypt. That was removal of Mubarak as a legitimate president. And who did it? The Democrats that worked and created all the organization. Many of them were, by the way, were in jail. Nobody knows that. About 14 or 15 students that mostly belonged to DNC, they were sitting in jail because when they brought Morsi as a president of as Egypt, that's what Obama chose to become president of Egypt. Morsi was a leader of Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt. So they jailed and put Mubarak in jail, the legitimate president of Egypt. Egyptians woke up immediately. And of course, they toppled Morsi because they were smart to see the danger. So his revolution maybe succeeded in the United States, but totally failed in Egypt. After Egypt, we had the killing of Gaddafi in Libya. We had Benghazi, that 4 Americans died, and the second that they were dying and fighting for their living, Barack Hussein Obama was flying for fundraising to Las Vegas, Nevada. The same time. That was the timing. And how they deflected on national TV? Susan Rice came out and talked about a video that nobody ever saw it. No American, no European, no Egyptian, no Israelis, no Chinese, no Russian, no Japanese. Nobody knew about a video that existed. Made up story, lie. Obama lied. Hillary lied. Her investigation became a political weapon of the left against whom? Against the Republican, meaning now the country really divided. And who was causing the division? Barack Hussein Obama. Barack Hussein Obama also got involved in Syria. He and McCain sent a lot of weapons to ISIS because they created ISIS. ISIS was creation of United States intelligence with the help of McCain and Obama. Therefore, they could not eliminate them. It's all phony. Stories that were told in the United States was that they were radical Sunnis that fighting against Shia. It's true that Sunnis and Shia are hating each other more than they hate Jews or more than they hate Christians. But the American people were not told the true story about ISIS. ISIS was creation of Barack Hussein Obama. What happened in Syria? Over 500,000 people, innocent children, man and woman, mostly civilian, died with a complete bombardment of whom? Of Syrian, Russian, and Iranian army. They killed 500,000 people. More than 7 million people were refugees. Where did they go? Came to Europe. I might be dead another 10 years, but within 10 years, Europe become total Islam. Muslim. There's no doubt about that. Anybody can go to London and see what's going on in London. And now after so many years, all of a sudden English people woke up and started the exit from European Union, that they are a bunch of globalists connected to a DNC and globalists in the United States, like Bill Gates and Dr. Fauci. So the economy of the United States the last 3.5 years has been great. Taxes were cut, regulation were cut, no inflation, cheap gas, cheap energy. United States became leader of energy in the world because Trump basically was for people. These people that previously, including Bush's, that were part of the establishment, they did great damage to the United States of America. And here is a guy, businessman, 74 years old, that comes in and has an energy of 10 other 20 people and works hard and created a great economy. So whatever the left did the last 3.5 years, including all the investigation, Russia, Mueller, Russia, that did not work because nothing was in Russia. That was a hoax. After that, when they defeated on Mueller investigation, they started new investigation of Kavanaugh. Just look at the to the judiciary or whatever committee is in the House. Go back and look at it, how they tried to destroy Kavanaugh. Didn't succeed. After Kavanaugh became the impeachment, a phony show that basically could be a very, very sad show, happened exactly in the United States Congress of America. What a shame. What a BS. So the impeachment did not work either. So they had to have another tool to destroy Donald Trump. So they went to their friends, the Chinese, the one that gave Hunter Biden $1.5 billion for doing nothing. All bribes, of course. And Chinese released their weapon as a biological weapon. The Third War started, March. All of a sudden, millions of Americans are locked in their home. Millions of Americans lost the free speech. The huge tech companies that ruling this world, like Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, whatever name you call it, that own billions of dollars of my money and your money, are basically working with China to totally destroy United States. So now the army of Barack Hussein Obama staged killing of George Floyd, that they give him a funeral better than they give funeral to any president in the United States. A criminal. And for that, all of a sudden, everything blowed out. Since killing of George Floyd, United States of America lost 30% of its economy. Donald Trump fell in a trap. Happens. He was busy with impeachment. He fell in a trap. He should not lock up the country. Maybe he should have locked up the states like Washington, like New York, like California, where the disease started spreading, and leave the rest of the country open. That was a mistake of Donald Trump that hopefully is going to overcome. A political mistake, a very, very critical mistake. Why? Because Donald Trump was surrounded by leftover of Obama regime, people like Dr. Fauci and the CDC, and a World Organization of Health that United States poured millions of dollars every year in it. He's trying to get out of a trap. It's not easy. Because like octopus, left has many arms. Is a snake with many heads, and every head is more poisonous than the other. So they knew that they have to weaponize the virus for this election, and it's been weaponized for this election. In one hand, you have a lion that probably worked 28, 24 hours a day because he loves the United States. In the other hand, you have the inner enemy of the United States that now they're rising and destroying the history of the United States by rioting, looting, shooting, killing. Whom they killing? Only the poor people, who are the most victim of this idiotic and totalitarian, sorry about me, sorry about my mistake, regime that they're trying to create. In 6 months, since March, you almost became China. We follow order from government. Government that goes against God. Government that closes churches and synagogues. This is exactly what Chinese did. This is exactly what Russian did 74 years ago. They shut down all the churches, all the Jews. And what happened to the people, we all know. How many Jews got killed in Ukraine? How many Jews got killed in Russia? How many Jews got killed later on by Hitler? Why? The hatred and division that Christianity started. And now the chicken get back to roost. American, the most free people in the world, feeling on their body and their brain that they are brainwashed. Their churches are closed. Their synagogues are closed. We've been told to wear masks all the time. We were told to be separated, 6 foot, like the virus really knows and cannot jump from 6 foot. Same virus that came from China. Just look how idiotic the whole matter is. 80% of Americans today follow order from Communist Party, that is Democratic Party, in the countries, in the states that are ruled years by the Democrat. 70, 80 years of a Democratic Party ruling in Chicago. What we see. Look what happened with Detroit. Look what's happening in New York, the center of the business today. Now you need a visa to go to New York. That's a separation. How come American cannot see that? It's so obvious. My goodness. How a country been destroyed within. Many empires that existed prior to United States of America, and there are plenty of them. We have Iranian Empire, we have Ottomanian Empire, we have Russian Empire, we had, God knows how many more empires we had. They all destroyed from within. World War III is fought not with missile, not with plane, not with tanks, not with soldiers. This is a war that's called psychological war. When you put fear on human mind that is going to die, the fear itself kills the human being, because fear of death is worse than death itself. That's a known fact. That's how Chinese did it to their population. That's how Russian did it on their population. That's how Cuban did it to their population. That's how Venezuela did it on their population. That's what Ortega was doing in South America. I don't remember what country, that time of Reagan, and Reagan fought it. Those are leftovers, are the regimes that collapsed. Like Soviet Union doesn't exist. But what happened to all the communists? Where did they go? Oh, they just changed name. They ran away to South America. And what happened when German army, the most strongest army in the world, was defeated by the American and Russian? Where'd they go? Nothing, they just hide. It's very easy to hide. Now, the resurrection basically began, not of Jesus. Jesus was a stupid story that was told and repeated, and people believe in it. That's okay, let them believe. Doesn't matter to me. But the chicken get back to roost. The hatred of a Catholic and Vatican toward the Jews now is pointed to them. They feeling the pain of burned synagogue, like happened in Germany. And Catholic Church basically helped Hitler to kill the Jews. Known fact, documented fact. So now they are under attack. By whom? But people that they hated them all along. All of a sudden, you're allowed to go to a liquor store and buy any beer or wine or whiskey, or drugstore to buy marijuana. Oh, by the way, marijuana became popular. All of a sudden, all the politicians is to make money on marijuana. Marijuana is worse than alcohol. So all the Black Lives Movement and all this Antifa that you see on the street, they're all high on marijuana. You cannot find basically 90% of black people are harmed by the drug that the white people give it to them. This is the systemic destruction of a society by having Planned Parenthood in every corner. Who was the person? Sanger, Margaret Sanger. Ask any woman, any black woman, who is Margaret Sanger and what a relation Hillary Clinton had with Margaret Sanger. She's one of her heroes. Why? Because 90% of abortion against girls in the United States done to black people. This is a genocide of black people. By whom? By communists, by the same ideology of Islamic. Like in Islamic country, a gay cannot live. They throw them out of the roof. They shoot them, they jail them, they kill them, they hang them. Same thing will happen here. To whom? First to Christian, then the Jews. And the blame always going to go to Jews. Probably they're going to blame Trump. Now, Nancy Pelosi calls the virus Trump virus. The man that pouring trillions of dollars to heal American people from a psychological virus that was initiated by China and Democrat and released by China with the order of Democrat to United States to destroy the nation, the only nation that existed 250 years with democracy, freedom of speech. Our first is taken away from us. Probably nobody going to see this video because I have to do it through YouTube. It's going to be cut. But I have it at least for myself. Maybe someday somebody going to discover it. It's probably not going to publish in Facebook or Twitter either. That's why the last 7 months I stayed quiet. But now I see what's happening on the ground, what I predicted prior to the virus, what would happen, and what will happen after the election of this November. They're already planting the seeds on the head of the people by false propaganda through the social media, through CNN, MSNBC, ABC, CBS, CNN, whatever, New York Times, that if Trump loses the election, already loses, another 90 days left to this election, but they call him already is losing. He's not losing the election, but they're creating the fear that if Trump is not elected, because they know that he's going to be elected, he's not going to leave the White House. They have to send the army to take him out because he's a dictator. It's representative that elected and serving in a house, Claiborne or whatever his name is, from North or South Carolina, called Trump Hitler and called the National Guard that was sent to Seattle as Gestapo. How come American that drawing a salary and a high salary from your money and my money, our taxes, can say such a thing about the President of the United States and get away. They get away. So now they have a puppet, a new puppet, that is basically the same lady on a different dress. And all of a sudden, Barack Hussein Obama, that created the most chaos in the world in 8 years of his presidency, he's the one that's running basically for the President of the United States, because we know, and Biden already said it himself, that he'll be only one-term president. If he leaves, even after a year or so, he's probably going to go die because the man is senile. So who's going to be your next president of the United States of America? Kamala Harris. Yes, or Susan Rice. Can you imagine? Can you imagine what world would like having Kamala Harris as your president? What you see today on the streets of America is nothing compared to what you see when the presidency is not given or Donald Trump is not elected. The question is not going to be on the United States. If United States falls in this election on the hand of the left, this is the end of United States of America as we know it. A place that you could go to a coffee shop and have coffee for a nickel, and they fill you up 20 times. That was 45 years ago when I came here. I was so surprised. You sit down to having a breakfast and you could have 10 cups of coffee free for a nickel. How much you pay for a coffee today at a Starbucks? $7, $8, $6? Can you imagine? What a life. How are life wasted by electing ideological people that have nothing but destruction of the United States of America, the only country that gave freedom to his citizens, is taken away. The First Amendment is gone, basically. They censor you today. Now they're going to fight on Second Amendment. They take your weapon away. And when you're weaponless, you basically lost your freedom, because then mob can do anything they want to do. And you cannot say anything. Your voice is not going to be heard again. They shut you down mentally, physically, financially, and let you die. Fact, in New York, 50% of the death of those that coma put them on the nursing homes, elderly homes. They knew people that had the virus, but they put them in. They're old, they should die. This is theory of Bill Gates and Margaret Sanger that comes along. United States of America pays millions of dollars to Planned Parenthood to kill black women, to get rid of babies, to cut them to pieces. And that's accepted by whom? By Jews in Hollywood. I'm Jewish. Those people are not Jewish. They never have been Jews. By the way, American Jews like ADL and GPL and AIPAC and all the nonsense that they're talking about, those are reminiscence of, we call them in Hebrew, Erev Rav. Erev Rav were Egyptian that got on the back of the Israel when they exited Egypt, Exodus, and became part of the Jews because they couldn't stand the regime, the barbaric regime of Pharaoh in Egypt. So they ran away. It's like a lot of, in 1980s, I believe, or when Sharon was Prime Minister of Israel, million of Jews ran away from Russia. Putin let them out. And within a million that get out, over 300,000 of them, they were not Jews. They were just Russian that wanted to get out of Russia. Same thing. American Jews that vote for Democrats are Arab Rav. Remember this, Arab Rav. Those people do not believe in God, do not believe in Moses, do not believe in First Amendment, do not believe on Second Amendment, but most of them are rich and they have their own private guard to keep them safe in their castles on Malibu Beach of California and New York. Unfortunate. Those are not Jews, but they the one that go first after they kill the Christian. Believe me, that happened. History does not lie. History does not lie that Roosevelt knew about the genocide that was happening to Jews in Germany and sat quiet. So today you have Ayatollah of Iran, the one that Obama loved and gave $150 billion of your money to him to build a bomb. Ayatollah gets up every morning and say that to Israel, that to America. This is that to Judaism, that to Christian. And who's going hand in hand with Iran? China. I just spoke to a friend of mine in Iran that was telling me that they have now new agreement with China to do fishing in Gulf of Iran, southern Gulf of Iran. He said, you do not know the Iranian fishermen, that there are thousands of them, are jobless because China now practically fishing in Gulf of Iran and taking all the fishery back, including their oil. So we are against an empire that trying to become rulers of the world, and they will, with the help of DNC, with the help of Barack Hussein Obama and Joe Biden and Clinton and Bush's and other corporate of America, Nike. Okay, Nike, all of a sudden, American anthem is not sung in United States territory, but Black Lives Matter is become the anthem. Ha! Remind me, exact thing, the circus that Roman had in Rome when they were drunk. They were putting human life in the center so the lion can eat them alive, and they were laughing. Yes. Hitler did the same thing. That's what happened here too, unfortunately. Sad prediction, but the truth. And you cannot deny the truth. You cannot deny the level of anti-Semitism and anti-patriotic American in the United States today. Just you have to compare it to what happened exactly in 1930 in Germany and 1947 in Russia, and a French Revolution, and Inquisition. Inquisition, same thing. What was the Inquisition? Hatred of Christianity against Judaism. They throw them out. And now they're throwing Christopher Columbus statues only because they found out he was a Jew. Christopher Columbus, the man that discovered this land, was a Jewish guy that ran away from Inquisition of Spain. This is facts of life. There is no deny on that. There is no deny that, what's his name? Martin Luther King was a communist. Proven fact. But when it happened in their land, they shut you down. Close your eyes and believe to what they say. This is exactly manifesto of the Democrats in this election. So America listened to an immigrant that spent or wasted 45 years of his life in this beautiful land, because it was beautiful when I came here. I felt free. I became multimillionaire from working, and I lost it all in a fraud because the justice system did not work. So I lost all my assets to a crooked guy that lured me to open a potato chip company in Oxnard, California at year 2000. And within 5 years, after I invested all my assets in it, he didn't put a penny in it. He sold me out. To the last day that I signed the agreement to sell and get out, he promised me $1 million. I said, fine, if I lost 6 or 7, that's okay. I can live with $1 million. Zilch, I had to pay $65,000 to close the escrow. So are you wondering why the black gets up and asks for social justice? There is no justice in the United States of America because everything is around money. Money becomes God. When a nation loses God, he loses his identity. When a nation loses God, he loses his soul. It's been sold to evil of money and greed. I never planned this video going to take 56 or an hour, but I had to say it. I hope I'll be able to put it in YouTube and put it on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram for you guys to see it, that here was a guy by name Helic that told us what's going to happen. Because I have COPD, high blood pressure, diabetes, kidneys, bladder cancer, and all the other stuff, and I'm still smoking. Because I believe only in God. All of us have a destination to die. No human gets from this world alive. So all the story that we've been told, that is going to be a resurrection and Jesus come back to save you, is all nonsense. All nonsense. I suggest to humanity to go back and start everything from the beginning and study the Bible, the true Bible, of the 5 books of Moses, that is a plan of a revolution and a plan of creation of this generation that within 220 years going to end. Meaning by year 2000, currently we're in year of 5780. By year 2000, this generation will die. It's mass. That's the order of God. And then what we call it, Messiah, comes because the land is going to be peaceful and restful. How the land become peaceful? Would not have BLM and Antifa and Chinese and some of those that rise daily to curse United States. Because United States is a blessed country by God of Israel to keep the freedom on, to keep the beacon of freedom on. But our beacon is crumbling, is trampling, is dying. The darkness is here, unfortunately. Unless Donald Trump be elected at 2020 to the next president of the United States for another 4 years. Maybe then God help him to save this country. Good night. Hallelujah.